Welcome to Chasing Circa Millions, a season-long journey swimming with the Sharks for a shot at a piece of $6 million. Each week of the NFL season, Dave and Matt will break down the schedule and come up with 5 picks against the spread to enter into the Circa Millions contest. Let's see what the guys come up with this week.
Welcome to Chasing Circa Millions, where every week Matt and Dave pick 5 games from the NFL spreads to enter in the Circa Millions contest, looking for a piece of the action, $6 million prize pool. We'd like to get a piece of that. Now, last week was not a good week for us, Matt. I'm going to bring that up right here, and we can take a look at it. There we are. Results week 5. We had the Jets. That was a loss. We had the Colts a win. Seattle a loss. Detroit a win. Kansas City Chiefs. Bad loss at Jacksonville. So for the week, we were 2-3. We're under 500 now, 12-13. We moved down 400 places, 1,966 out of 5,700. Still in the top 34, which is okay, but we need to be doing better than that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, kind of, meh week. Also consensus 2-3, I think, as well. So, ready to move on to this week, though.
Yep, ready to go. Let's take a look at the spreads for this week. Okay, here we go.
We
last night we had the Eagles-Giants game. Big upset there. Giants beat them 34-17 at home. Giants looked really good. I don't know what's up with the Eagles.
Yeah, Eagles did not look very good in that game. And Jackson Dart, actually, I mean, I thought he had some great plays, honestly, watching that one. And Scattaboo, kind of runs in a unique style. Seems like he's really seeking out contact. So, yeah, Giants defense was good. Eagles, they're struggling. I don't really know what's up with them, but I think they're on the bye now for next week. So maybe they'll be able to figure it out. Not really sure.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. The Eagles can't get their running game going, right? Saquon Barkley was unstoppable last year, and he's struggling this year for sure. But that game's over with. Not obviously part of our contest picks for this week, so we'll move on and just go over these one by one and come up with 5 winners. First off is Broncos-Jets. This is the game that's in London at Tottenham's Hotspur this week. Broncos coming off heading out there to Europe for this game. 7 is the number on this one. Always a tough one to go because you've got the possibility for a push on that, and pushes don't really help us any at this point. Jets were really disappointing last week. I thought they'd have a good game. We had obviously picked them, and they just got their butts handed to them.
Yeah, honestly, though, I think if you kind of look at how that game turned out, right? I know the Jets had a bunch of points in garbage time that made it look a little bit closer, but the first half when they were still kind of in it, I mean, they allowed 2 touchdowns in like a minute and a half to end the half, right?
Right.
Which was kind of deflating for them. But going on to this game, I think it'd be Broncos or nothing for me. Obviously, we got an international game. Usually international favorites fare pretty well. I think, obviously, they have the advantage on both sides of the ball here. But I don't really love the 7 with the push. You don't really exactly know, what kind of effort you're going to get from the Jets. So I don't know. Do you have any thoughts?
No, it was a game I looked at briefly, but I couldn't really come to a conclusion. The Jets are just so inconsistent. What are you going to get from them? The Broncos certainly have a good defense, and they should be able to hold the Jets down, Justin Fields and the gang. Bo Nix has been up and down too. I mean, a lot of people are singing his praises, but he's still pretty far down in the quarterback rankings. I don't know what you're going to get from the Broncos, and those Europe games are always a little bit weird because you don't know how the travel and the time change is going to affect them, right? Speaking of teams that are in a bad spot, the Browns were in Europe or in England last week to play. They got to come all the way home and then travel to Pittsburgh, although it's not that far, but come home for an away game, no bye for them. And they get to face the Steelers.
Yeah, Steelers, I really like them in this spot. Usually I wouldn't want to take a divisional, especially in this division, a team that's laying this kind of number in the division. But I think given the travel spot, this is kind of a special circumstance, and given that the Browns have a rookie quarterback going out, I think that Mike Tomlin should be able to, give Dylan Gabriel some problems, I would think, on defense. Steelers obviously also coming off their bye, they're getting healthier. Um, I just think it's a good spot for them, and I really like them this week. My only fear is maybe this turns into a little bit of a public side, or maybe this is a consensus pick, but it seems like the line's also moving the other way for the Browns. At Circa, it looks like it's 6 right now, so could be maybe another spot where we could maybe pick up like a point of line value.
Yeah, I think right now, yeah, the Steelers Browns line in the contest is 5.5, and it's mostly 5.5 across the board. There is 1.6 out there at a couple of the books. So yeah, it's probably about a half point that you're gaining with the Steelers on that one, which is never bad to take that, right? And 5.5 is kind of a weird number.
Right. Did you like the
Next.
Steelers or not really?
No, I think it'd be Steelers or nothing. I mean, the Browns have a feisty defense. I worry about them harassing the immobile Aaron Rodgers a little bit, but with the Steelers having the bye and the Browns having the tough road schedule, yeah, it'd be the Steelers or nothing for me for sure on this one. I didn't
Okay.
I didn't notice. I think I didn't see what the right now. It's kind of weird. There's 65% of the bets and 87% of the handle is on the Steelers. Right? There's very very low amount of money being bet on the Browns at this point. So that's going to be.
Right.
I would think that might
I
be
guess
one of
it's
the
encouraging
consensus
to
picks,
me.
right?
It's encouraging to me at least that they're receiving so much more money than they are bets, right? That's definitely
Right.
not the case with some of these other teams.
Right. For sure. Yeah. Some of them are really weird, and we'll get to those, I'm sure.
Right.
Um, Cardinals. Ugh, man, lost at home to Tennessee. Terrible. Now they get to go travel to Indy to the Red Hot Colts. Indiana Jones. I really liked this game when it opened at 5.5, and I really liked this game when it went to 6.5 as far as the Colts go. And then the Circa lines came out at 7, and I was like, oh boy, I can't see any reason why the Colts shouldn't win this game. They seem to be rolling. But that 7 kind of got me a little bit worried.
Yeah, I agree. I had to stay off this one because it also seems like there's some uncertainty with injuries. If Kyler is maybe playing, maybe not. Maybe dealing with some of those like symptoms he had from that injury where he came out for briefly during the Tennessee game. Uh, I mean, I like Indianapolis. Obviously, they've done as well this season, and they're a good team. I think they're 4-1 ATS, so they've been great. They've been a great home team as well. I think they're undefeated. Obviously, they only have one loss, but they're undefeated at home. Yeah, the Cardinals. I mean, man, I don't really know what to do with them. Right? Like, it's just not really a team I want to be betting on, I guess. And I think their defense, honestly, isn't that terrible. But it just seems like for some reason, and they've done it, 3 times now, they get up to, 21, 27 points. And then it's like their offense just like stops. Like they just, I don't know what their play calling is once they have these big leads. It's like they become like the worst team in football if they have a lead. And granted, maybe in this situation they're not really expected to be leading, so maybe that could be a little bit more favorable scenario for them. But I don't know what to do with them. They're just kind of in like a purgatory of NFL teams, right? They're just they're going to be
Right.
8-9, 9-8, 7-9, 7-10. You
Right.
know,
And Kyler Murray's missed some time this week. I'm sure he's still going to play on Sunday, but he's a little bit banged up as well. And the
yeah.
Colts are impressive. They probably have, if not the most balanced team in the league between passing and running. If if not, they're, one of the top 2 or 3 for sure. They can come
Hmm.
at you from a lot of different directions. Next up is a game that I had no interest in whatsoever as well. A lot of these early games, to tell you the truth. Um, the Rams at the Ravens. On paper, the Rams should kill them, but Baltimore getting a lot of points at home, that didn't help them last week. They're missing Lamar. He's not going to play this week. He's out. You would think that the Rams are a pretty strong candidate for a win here, but the Ravens, if they don't shape up here pretty soon, and they're going to be out of it in the division, in the playoffs, everywhere, right?
Yeah, I guess my angle on this, and when we discussed it earlier, one reason I really like the Rams is uh, the Ravens they have their bye next week, and then, like, take a look at their schedule after their bye because it is, like, just a cakewalk of just terrible teams that they're facing. It's like they're getting the Jets, like, Cincinnati twice, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, like, if they're healthy, all teams where, if they had their day 1 starters, they would've been sizable favorites in all these games, right? So I'm just pulling up the schedule just so I'm making sure I'm not, um, you know, going crazy here. But they could lose this game and still win this division. They'd have still a decent shot. And you look at the odds; they're still like minus 110 to win the division, right? So,
Right.
excuse me. I don't know. I just think this is the kind of game where they have a lot of guys injured. Lamar's still injured. Like, what kind of effort are they gonna put in? Like, they're just gonna I think this is kind of the spot where they're just gonna punt this game, get to their bye, and try to regroup from there, right? Um, Now, the only thing that really concerns me, and when I was looking into this one, because obviously the Rams are a big favorite, is the Rams, for some reason, it seems like they're similar to the Cardinals, where when they get in these like big leads, like when they were up 26 whatever against the Eagles, they don't like to go out and just like finish those games, right? Like they're not really a team to blow you out. And you see that like their biggest win they had, maybe ever under the McVay tree was that Titans win they had earlier this season, right? For some reason, they get up big and their playbook just shrinks and they don't do anything. I don't know why. Now, with this Ravens team, you might not even really need to do anything to just go down the field and score on them. But it's a concern when you're laying this big of a number. I don't know if you have any other thoughts. I was kind of going on a little rant there.
No, and I mean the Rams are coming off that horrific loss to San Francisco as well too. So, they've got to be primed and ready to go. And you would think that Puka Nakua and friends will have a really good game um, this week. So, yeah, I think we're in agreement that it would be the Rams or nothing in this game. 7.5 is kind of a weird number too, but yeah, the Ravens are probably going to have trouble keeping up in this game for sure.
Yeah. And just so we're going back to the schedule thing, I mean, it's at home after the bye, at home against the Bears, at Miami, at Minnesota, at Cleveland. Not really a great stretch there, but they should be able to beat Miami and they should be able to win 2 out of 3. Then they're at home against the Jets, at home against the Bengals, at home against the Steelers, at the Bengals, then at home against the Patriots. I mean,
Yep, agree. Yeah,
and then it's
and
Packers, Steelers, but they should
yeah,
be able to win 8 more games.
right. And they're chasing the Steelers, who have, I don't know if you've got the schedules up there. The way the Steelers end their season is they have
It's hellish, right?
they have some really tough games. In fact, um, a couple of different places I heard that you should wait until after week 6, which is this week, and then bet the Steelers under win total
Oh
at
my,
that
yeah, this
point. Yeah.
is wow. At home against Packers, at home against Colts, on the road against Chargers. Then they have Bengals, Bears. Then they're playing the Bills, Ravens, Dolphins. Then the Lions, Browns, Ravens. Oh my, that is a disgusting
Yeah.
ending schedule.
Yeah.
Oh, they'd be lucky if they could win 3 of those games.
Yeah. So, yeah, you might take a look at that season win total after they get through this week if they do happen to the Steelers happen to win this game, right? So,
They'd be
might be
5-1.
interesting.
I think they did the same thing last year. They were like
Right.
5 or 6-1.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And I don't know what their season win total is right now, but it'd be interesting to see what it's posted at after this weekend for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's 10.5, under's the way to go there.
Totally agree.
Okay. Seahawks Jags. Holy cow. This line has just been all over the place. There is ones out there favoring Seattle. There's ones out there favoring Jacksonville. The picks are all gone, or the pick'ems. But
I'm seeing a 1.5 Seattle minus 1.5 at DK.
yeah, they were talking on the radio today that Seattle had gone to 1.5, and yeah, I'm seeing that's true. They've gone to 1.5 at DraftKings. So 59% of the bet, 74% of the handle has gone in on the Seahawks. So it's jumped a whole 1.5 points. I wasn't interested in this game necessarily throughout the week, but with that jump of a 1.5 points, I'm interested now. If you're gaining a 1.5 points of value, um, the Seahawks have been kind of bad to us, and you know me, Trevor Lawrence Kool-Aid, but 1.5 point of value is certainly something worth considering. I mean, if people are getting down on it, there's got to be, some reasoning behind it, right?
I mean, I like the Seahawks. I think that overall, I think they have a better team than the Jags. I would imagine the reason it jumped is this, the practice report came out and Seahawks are getting a little bit healthier. I haven't looked at that, but I think that was maybe some of the reason that I was getting some hesitancy on them. And I think you look at their offense, Sam Darnold has been like nails. And I know he lost last week and he threw an interception. It wasn't really his fault. Bounced off a guy's helmet, kind of deflected, and they intercepted it. But he's been playing great. And I mean, we have been on Seattle, and I think they've been okay to us. We've been on them 3 times now, and I think we've won twice. So I don't know. I like them this week. I think they're the better team. Obviously, they're coming off a tough loss, but it looks like this is kind of like a big Jags letdown spot, right? Like they just basically had their Super Bowl. They beat Kansas City at home, right?
Right.
I don't love that Seattle's coming east. You know, if it's a 1.5 of value, I think that's certainly worth considering. Now, granted, by the time we put this in, this could come all the way back, and the Seahawks could be plus 1.5. I'm sure this line is probably going to keep fluctuating. I don't know if the Seahawks are going to stay 1.5 when it seemed like a lot of the early money was coming in on the Jags. So
Right.
I
It
don't I
was
don't know.
early in the week, yeah, for sure. And
Right,
when you look at the Seahawks, right, their 2 losses are to San Francisco, who apparently are
four and
good,
one.
and Tampa Bay,
Tampa
right, which
Bay four
is
and one.
led by the great Baker Mayfield, right? And
Right,
they have come east already once this year to Pittsburgh in week 2 and spanked the Steelers 31-17, right? So,
right.
I
Did we
don't
have
think
them that week too?
I
We've
think we
picked them a
probably
lot
did.
this week. They're
Yeah,
they're
I'd
like
have
my favorite team.
I'd have to go back and look at it, but yeah, we have been on them a lot, and they have been pretty good to us. So I've made note of
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay, let's keep
I
going.
think I was on them a lot last year too. I think I've been on them for a while now. Just keep. It's like you're at the roulette table and
Well,
blacks hit like 4 times in a row, and you're like, I'm just gonna keep betting on.
yeah, and you think of last year's Seahawks when Geno was actually playing like Geno. They were a good team, right? Now he's a different guy this year, but we'll get to that. Next up, another one I've got no interest in whatsoever: Cowboys Panthers. Um, I have no idea. This is actually, I do have an idea, but I'm going to tell you how I'm going to play this. I'm going to take the Cowboys minus 7 or 8 points, and I'm going to take the Panthers minus 5 or 6 points. I'm going to play an alternate spread on both of them and get some big plus money. And I just think that this game is going to be a blowout, but I can't tell you which way it's going to be. I don't think this is going to be a field goal game. There's no chance this is going to be a field goal game. I think this is going to be 30-14, something like that, by one team, but I can't tell you which one it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think earlier in the week when I was looking at it, when it was 3.5, I was kind of interested in the Panthers. Um, I think that given just how bad the Cowboys defense is, they're in that same category as Miami, right? Like just really bad. And I don't know, I thought maybe, given what I saw from the Panthers last week, maybe that could be a good spot for them. Three, I don't really have a lot of lean here, especially with Panthers. I mean, you don't really know what you're getting with them, right? Like, it's
Right.
like, you're shaking the dice, there's 5 in there, and like 2 of them are like Bryce Young plays out of his mind. One of them is like Bryce Young is like the worst quarterback you've ever seen. And then the other one is like, it's just crazy. I don't know. I think that we should avoid this game at all cost. If I had to pick it, I would go Panthers +3, but that is only if you were holding a gun to my head, I
Right.
guess. I don't know.
Yeah, they beat crappy Miami last week. That's no feather in your cap, right? And they had that wacky 30-0 win over Atlanta, which I still don't understand. They got killed by our Patriots. They got beat pretty good by Jacksonville and just barely lost to Arizona. But yeah, they're just hard team to figure out.
Yep.
Anyway, let's keep rolling. Let's go on. Speaking of the crappy Dolphins, here they are having to face Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Chargers -4 in this game. I see a couple of 3.5s. I see a 4.5 out there and a whole bunch of fours. So it's sort of right around this area. Hasn't moved too much this week. It's the Dolphins are getting the money in this game, though, according to DraftKings. 32% of the bets, but 74% of the handle. I'm done taking the Dolphins anyway. Dog, favorite, home, away. I'm not going to allow us to pick the Dolphins in any scenario the rest of this year. With that being said, I'm interested in the Chargers. I mean, they've got a good team. They should handle business here, but they've been a little up and down themselves, right? Um, they're coming off back-to-back losses to the Giants at the Meadowlands, and then they lost at home last week significantly, 27-10 to Washington, which Washington's a pretty good team, but they've had some good wins. They started off 3-0, KC, Raiders, Denver, all good wins, right? And then mysteriously they lose 2 in a row. So um, for me, it'd be the Chargers or nothing here.
Yeah, I did I mentioned in my message to you that I did like the Chargers here. I think this is a good spot for them to get right, especially against how bad the Dolphins are on defense. But this money versus bets is extremely concerning, right? Like they're taking a lot of bets, and Miami is just getting all the money, and it's already at 3.5 on DraftKings. I don't think that I could play the Chargers, just given that it seems like there's something I'm missing in this game, and I don't know why all the money is coming in on Miami. It befuddles me. I mean, I feel like this line should be like 6.5, right?
Right.
I know the Chargers have some injuries, but I feel like I'm
Yeah.
missing something with this game, so I need to avoid it.
Yeah. Just answer these 3 questions real quick. This game, Chargers Dolphins. Who has the better offense?
Probably the Chargers.
Who has the better defense?
Definitely the Chargers.
Who wins the coaching matchup?
The Chargers by a
Yes.
lot.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Right. Which is confusing why all the money then is coming in on Miami.
Right. Yeah. I agree. Okay. Let's go on to one I know we both like. 49ers at our beloved Bucks with Baker Mayfield. I think that the point that I made this week was the 49ers have won 4 games by a total of 13 points. The Buccaneers have won 4 games by a total of 8 points. I'm just going to take the points in this game. If it was either way, if it was the Bucks +3, I'd take the Bucks. If it was 49ers +3, I'm taking the 49ers. It's just these two teams play close games, and I think there's value in the points.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I don't love the 3, obviously. I kinda wish it was if it was 2.5, I think I'd be pretty interested in the Bucks, but, uh, 3 it's been sitting at 3 all week too, like, I don't someone there must be no one caring about this game, but I don't mind the 49ers +3. Yeah, I agree taking the points. I mean, they played their teams close, um, whether it's Purdy or Mac Jones, I feel decently confident in either of them. Mac Jones has looked actually pretty good,
Yeah,
in his
Purdy's
couple
out.
games, so
Purdy's
yeah,
out
yeah,
as
so
of
I
today,
I
so yeah.
I don't mind Mac Jones. I think he's looked good in his past few games, and, like, I I would say, matchup-wise, like, the Bucks probably have a little bit of an advantage because, you know, the 49ers won't be able to run on them, but I don't think the 49ers are really trying to run on anybody. They're just throwing the ball, even to, like, Tonjes and, like, the ghost of, like, Jawan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall. They got all these random guys, right? Like, and they're using CMC at, like, an absurd rate, so I don't mind the 49ers here. It's not like I wouldn't say it would be like my, uh, in one of the ones that I mentioned in the email I sent you, but, I do like that here. with the points.
Yep. Um, Pretty ugly matchup here. Titans coming off their first win with Cam Ward, first win of the year. Raiders look just awful. Um, Raiders giving 4.5 at home. Little bit of a weird money thing. 52% of the bets and 82% of the handle is on the Raiders, which is kind of weird. Lot of Raiders money. Of course, they're a public team, right? So they're always getting, they're
Are
sort
they
of
a
like
public team?
yeah, they're sort of like the Cowboys. Everybody on the West Coast, they travel well. They come in, they bet. Everybody on the West Coast comes over to Vegas on the weekends, and they're all Raiders fans. Um, they're from Oakland, they're from LA, they're from everywhere, right? And I think they're a very public team. I think they take a little bit more money than they deserve for sure. I think we were probably in disagreement on this. I can't remember. I was kind of interested in the Titans in this game, and I'm even more interested in them with the Raiders taking all that money, maybe going against the popular notion of the public. Not really. We decided we'd try and stay away from supporting bad teams, and these are two bad teams.
Yeah. I I'll be completely honest, I did bet the Titans at, like, plus 5.5 or something earlier in the week, but the more I looked at it, and I'm not looking to buy out of that because I think that's a good number, but the more I looked at it, I mean, minus 4.5, I think I liked for Vegas. I don't think we're gonna end up putting this one in, but just to kind of get my thoughts out there, I'd say the Titans just won, massive letdown spot for them. It's also their 3rd straight road game, which is not
Bad.
really good a good spot. Uh, I know Vegas is taking a lot of money, but, like, this has gotta be, like, the ultimate buy low. Maybe it's not, but it feels like it is, and I think Vegas, like when I looked at the matchup, I kind of mentioned the email that I sent you. It seemed like the Titans had a very similar defense to the Bears, and Vegas actually played pretty well against the Bears. So I thought it was a decent maybe play on the Raiders just to buy low on them and seemed like a bad spot for the Titans. But I totally understand what you're saying, where the Raiders are not good, and Gino could throw like 3 interceptions this game, and like our bet could be dead in the first half. So I totally get that sentiment as well.
Yeah, and the Titans. There's very little that you can say positive about them, but their first 4 losses were to Denver, the
Cam
Rams,
Ward,
and
you could say is positive. He's been good.
yeah, he's been positive. But the team in general, I mean, they lost to Denver, the Rams, Indianapolis, and Houston to start the year, right? So, Denver, the
Pretty good
Rams, and
teams.
Indianapolis are pretty good teams. Houston's a little disappointing, but still a good team with a good defense. And, then the Titans beat up on the crappy Cardinals, which we don't know what to make of them, right? So, um, I just think, yeah, the Titans might be a little more feisty than we think. It's Cam Ward's getting better each week. So, yeah, I think we just move on and get on to the
Yeah.
next game.
I think if we were going to bet the Titans, we need a bigger number, like a plus 7.5, right? Like last week would have
Oh,
been a good spot for them, but
yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Okay. What do you think about Patriots Saints?
Yeah, Saints plus 3.5 would be like my favorite play on the entire board. It's I talked about a letdown spot with the Titans. I mean, this is like more than a letdown spot with the Patriots. They just beat the Bills on the road. Out of 10, how many times do you think the Patriots are going to beat the Bills on the road with their like this year? Ace,
Yeah.
out of 10. I
Yeah.
mean, it may look great, and the Patriots did look great, but you just know, like, Diggs had all the motivation in the world to go out and have a great game. Drake May looked good. Their defense looked good. Called a great game. All of that. Totally agree. And I think the Patriots look good. But this week, I want the Saints. I know the Saints also just came off a big win, but excuse me, but their win wasn't really like a close sort of fashion. That was like a blowout, basically, of the Giants. And the Saints are, I think, a pretty good team at home this year. You just look at how they played at home. I think they played very well. And Spencer Rattler, not as bad as the media was making him out to be at the start of the season. He's played pretty well. He's like a middle tier quarterback, just looking at the stats. Like, he's been better than Geno. He's been better than like Tua, you know.
Bo Nick.
He's been Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, all these guys, probably like maybe not now, but like a Jackson Dart. Justin Fields, Aaron Rodgers, he's looked better than all of them. So I like that. He looks good. Their defense, I think, is been okay. They haven't really gotten, a big number hung up on them except for Seattle, which was kind of a terrible spot for them. But I like them here at home catching some points. I think they're a feisty team, and we've been kind of talking about them for a few weeks as a team that is a little bit feisty as well. So I really like them a lot, and it seems like a lot of the bets are coming in on the Patriots, which is another thing I like. Everyone wants to bet on the Patriots after that massive win for them, but it seems like more of the money, the smart money, is coming in on the Saints. So
Yeah, there's not a lot of money coming in on the Saints, but I kind of like that in the fact, and we talk about the money, the bets and the handle a lot during our podcast here, but this is another case where all the money, 74%, is coming in on the Patriots, but the line's not moving.
right.
So you'd think that at this point, by this point in the week, that line would be 4.5. It would have moved through 4 to 4.5 with all the money coming in on the Patriots. So the fact that it stayed there, I think bodes well. So yeah, I'm in
Yeah,
agreement
that
with
tells
you
me
on
that
that.
there's sharp money on the Saints. Somebody's coming in on the Saints they're
Yeah.
saying, oh, maybe we shouldn't be moving the line.
Yep. Okay. Do you even want to discuss Bengals Packers?
I do actually want to discuss Bengals Packers because I kind of want to make a case for the Packers minus 14.5. Just a small case, just a little. I'm going to throw a little hook and see if I can hook you in.
Okay.
No one wants to bet on the Packers at minus 14.5. No one. And I realized that the Bengals actually probably should have been a little bit closer with Detroit last week. I mean, Jake Browning basically handed them 3 touchdowns with his interceptions. Uh, and Joe Flacco is a better quarterback than Jake Browning. There's no doubt about that. Completely agree. But that Bengals defense is so bad. Like, so bad. I would be surprised if the Packers did not put up 35. So the question becomes, will the Packers defense allow 17? I mean, maybe, but are the Bengals going to get the 21 even with Joe Flacco? The problem isn't necessarily Jake Browning. It's that their defense is terrible and their offensive line is like non-existent.
Right.
So I think Packers offer their bye. They're playing at home. I just see this as a blowout spot for them. And I know you probably should bet the Bengals at plus 14.5 because they just got blown out. But that wasn't really a true blowout because they were really more in that game than it seemed they were. I love that everyone I'm looking at DraftKings here. It seems like they're getting 68% of the bets, 74% of the money. I just think it could be but the line's not moving. It's been at 14.5 all week. It just seems like it could be a contrarian spot, right, for the Packers to take them.
Yeah.
If you have any thoughts, I'd love to hear them. I'm just kind of making my case for them.
No, and that is a good case. You've set the hook. It's in my mouth, but you haven't pulled up on it. Um, and the other thing is, all this, here comes Joe Flacco, right? But he's only had what, 3, 4, 5 days to try and
To
figure out
prepare.
what's going on with the offense there. So it's in kind of a tough spot. The Packers defense is no great shakes, but Joe's going to be in the pocket. There's no fear of him running, right? And where he's not necessarily on the same page yet with his receiving core, maybe. The Packers probably are looking at getting a couple of interceptions, right? But with that being said, the Bengals still do have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, right? Chase Brown. They haven't helped them for sure. And I don't know whether that's on Jake Browning or what it's on exactly, right? But they definitely have some weapons. But yeah, I mean the Packers. I don't know what their history is with big spreads. I wish I could just tap into that in 1 second and give you an answer to that, right? But they put up 40 on Dallas, and Dallas had a pretty bad defense, probably equally bad defense to the Bengals, right? Yeah, the question
Mhm.
is how many points will the Bengals score, right? So you were right. If the Packers get to 40, can the Bengals get to 27, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think I see it as like a 21-35 game in that area.
Right. That wouldn't be any good with the Packers.
that
You'd
wouldn't
lose
be
by
any
half a
good.
point.
But
Yeah.
21-35, that kind of context, then you're kind of coming down to, oh, maybe there's a Packers field goal. You kind of get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if I would say 21 would be the upside case for the Bengals, is what I'm saying. Like, if you're like, oh, they're
Right.
going to look good, like, they'll look better. Like, that's their upside case, 21. Their downside case is like 10.
Right. Yeah. Since they lost Joe Burrow, right? They've scored 10, they've scored 3. Somehow they got 24 against Detroit. Which is surprising. I don't know whether those were garbage time touchdowns. I wasn't glued to the TV on that one, right? But you would
There
hope
was some
that,
garbage time going on there. Yeah. It wasn't like
yeah,
the maximum effort I mean, Detroit was up what? Like, they were up like 35 to like 14 or something.
yeah, I'm not
Let him
sure.
get a couple scores. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that's the only thing that could potentially make you sad, right, on Sunday afternoon is if the Packers are way ahead and then they start just letting them go down the field, right, with the dreaded prevent defense, right?
Yeah, but when they're way ahead, then they just let Micah Parsons rush the passer and try to pad his his sack
Right,
stats, right? Against Joe Flacco, who's not going to escape him, right?
right. Or what if they take them out, right?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
fair enough.
sad, yeah,
Fair enough.
I
But
don't know.
yeah, I don't know. I was just making a case because
It's a
I didn't think it
possibility,
was worth
yes.
skipping over. Like, Cowboys
Right,
Panthers, probably worth skipping over, but this one, I just wanted to lay a thought out there as an
right.
option.
And the good point about it is, and I'll give you this, is that from a game theory standpoint, you're right. Nobody's going to be taking the Packers. So you're going against everybody, right?
Right. It's just such a weird number. Like, who would put this in? Who would put this in the contest?
Right. Hopefully not a couple of losers.
Right. Right.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Let's keep going. We got 3 more games to go. Lions Chiefs. I think I said to you earlier in the week that I was on the Lions at this time. They're a better team, the Lions. They shouldn't be getting points. There's hardly any teams in the league they should be getting points when they're playing against them, right? The Chiefs are disoriented on offense. Gosh, they just lost to Jacksonville. Their weapons are, their receivers are not that great. Mahomes is doing what he can. They have no running game. And the Lions, we talk about Indy being a balanced team. The Lions are a totally balanced team. They can run it at you. They can pass it on you. Their running backs are great out of the backfield, catching passes. Their defense is stout. I don't know what's not to like about getting points with the Lions.
That's exactly what's not to like. That's why I'm scared of it because they should be favored in this game. Like, they are so much better. It's not even like I'm looking at the stats, everything. Like, they should be favored in this game. Like, why are they not favored? That was my only question. Like, why do you think they're not favored in this game?
I think it's people are still drinking the Chiefs Kool-Aid, right? I mean, the Chiefs, how many years in a row have they gone to the Super Bowl, right? But this
Yeah.
isn't the Chiefs team of the last couple of years. This is the 2025-26 Chiefs, right? I think they're a little different animal. I think people are still thinking, well, the Chiefs are at home. The Chiefs are at home. They've got Andy Reid. The Chiefs are at home. It's a great home field advantage. I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I see this as like the Lions game from a couple seasons ago where they went into Chiefs week 1 as underdogs and they are very undervalued. I don't know. It just seems like right now they're the better team. Like, it feels to me like this will be almost undoubtedly like one of the most picked sides from public, like, and like in the contest. Like, Lions would probably be one of the most picked sides. So that's kind of why I didn't really want to play on it, just because I think everyone's going to be on the Lions. So I'd either want to be the opposite side or just avoid. That was my only thought.
Yep. No, and I think that's a good point as well, right? I
And
think you're right
I
that
totally agree with you that the Lions are a better team on a neutral field. The Lions should be like -4.5, -5.5 against this Chiefs team. But just it's the fishiest line just sitting out there at 2.5 all week. It's like they're like begging people to come in and take the Lions. I don't know why.
right. It's fishy. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. How about Bills Falcons? I think this is another one we had a big disagreement on, right? Um, Falcons, little inconsistent. They've been good some weeks and bad some weeks. The Bills defense is questionable. But they're coming off that loss to the Patriots. That's got to be a kick in the teeth to them, right? Um, and I expect a strong outing out of the Bills down in Atlanta, especially indoors. Uh, I think Josh Allen's going to be very good indoors. I think he's much the better quarterback than Michael Penix. I think the defenses are probably comparable. I think the Bills have the edge in the offense. I think the Bills probably have the edge on the sidelines as well. So I kind of like the Bills in this game, but I think you were of an opposite thought there, right?
Yeah, I did like Atlanta, not necessarily for any great reason other than I thought, they're off their bye, they're at home, probably a much better home team, you know. I think they actually have a decent home field advantage. Seemed like the matchup was good for them where they could run the ball on the Bills, and the Bills wouldn't have a little bit of trouble stopping that. It seemed like the Bills, when you look at the DraftKings splits, 81% of the bets are on the Bills, but only 50% of the money. I like that. And, just seemed like the main concern is what you brought up and why you like them is that when Josh Allen is playing inside, he could put up 45 points like no problem, you know. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to step in front of that train. And if we have a disagreement on this game, then maybe we should just move on, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think so. I mean, I'll hand it to the Falcons, right? They've they've beaten Washington and Minnesota, who are two obviously good teams. For some reason, they lost, like we said earlier, 30-0 to Carolina, but they only lost by 3 to Tampa Bay in the first game of the season, right? So, and Tampa Bay is certainly a good team. So there's something about the Falcons. And they had that early bye, right? So they've only played 4 games. So maybe it's just a wait and see for us on this game,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Sounds
And
good.
I think maybe that was kind of also another reason I like the Falcons is some of the things I saw with them is that, they've been having trouble with Penix and connecting with his receivers. So you get a bye week, you get more time to work on that. That was kind of my thought. But Josh Allen inside, you probably don't want to step in front of the train. So
Yep. Okay, and the second Monday night game this week, I think we won't have to spend much time on because my number one pick of the week was the Commanders, and I think we
yeah.
were in agreement on that.
Yeah. No. Loved it. Loved the
Loved it.
Commanders this week.
Yep.
Yeah. Not
They're
really much to say.
No, they're looking good going forward. I'm definitely down with Jaden Daniels. He's playing great since he came back. Too bad for them that he had to miss those 2 weeks because their record might be even better. But I think they're going to be a team that we're going to be betting on some more as the year goes on, right? So
Yep.
looks good there. Um, okay, so we need to get down to it here. We've got Washington. I think we were probably in agreement on San Francisco.
Yeah. And the Saints. We were in agreement on the Saints, right?
Yep, New Orleans, and then, I think we were in agreement on Seattle.
Yeah, yeah. I think I think we have to take Seattle just given the everyone's gonna take them as well, but you have to just because it's free points.
Yeah, 3 points. So I think that gets us down to something like the Chargers or Green Bay.
Not the Steelers?
Oh, sorry, I missed having the Steelers here. Yeah, I had them down, I didn't read them. So, yeah, we got the
And you're out on
Steelers.
the Rams. You're out on the Rams. You have no cares.
I'm gonna kick myself Sunday night, right? Let
I
me
mean, I told you my reservations, so don't feel like I want this to be a joint decision. I want it to be a team we both feel confident on.
Right,
I feel like, all these ones I've kind of laid out my own reservations. Packers, I mean, obviously you have the Flacco effect where he could explode on you with actual good receivers. That's a thing that could happen.
right.
Do I see that happening more than 50% of the time? No. Going
Yeah,
on to the Chargers, I'm extremely concerned with the money situation there just because that is like maybe just a hard avoid. The Rams, at least, I feel like the Ravens have basically given up on this week. I can't have anything to quantify that. So to me, if I was to say the one I'm the most confident of the remainder, it would be the Steelers, just knowing that it's Mike Tomlin, a good coach, against a rookie quarterback, and they're off a bye and the Browns are in probably one of the worst travel spots we've seen over the last few years. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, and I think we're probably gonna have to settle on the Rams because I just see the Steelers. It was a good reason to take the Packers. The only reason I think I'd take the Packers is because nobody's going to take the Packers, and we'd be on the good side of that game as a not a consensus pick, right?
Right.
So that would be a good reason to take the Packers. I think a lot of people are going to be on the Steelers. I could almost guarantee they're going to be one of the consensus picks just because of this whole travel thing. Um, and, probably the game script I see for Browns Steelers is the Browns are probably in it till halftime because they do have a good defense. There's no doubt, right? They do have a good
Right.
defense. But I think as the game wears on, um, I think it'll probably start to swing the Steelers' way. And, hopefully it's not a whole bunch of Steelers field goals. We've seen Steelers games in the past where they kick 6 field goals, right? So,
Right.
that would kind of worry me, but, yeah, I think I liked your argument for the Rams and the Ravens just not caring for this game and looking ahead to their bye week and getting Lamar back and proceeding from that point forward and not putting out a good effort for this particular game.
Yeah, and I'll be completely honest, like, my angle on that isn't, like, a quantitative data-driven angle by any means, right? It's just how I feel like that game's gonna go just based on what I'm seeing from the schedule, right? So,
Right.
I that's why I'm not as confident on that one as I say I would be on the Steelers because the Steelers, it feels like that's more of a tried and true spot, whereas I can't gauge what the Ravens' effort's gonna be like, and I don't know how the Rams' play calling is gonna be if they're up 24-3 at half.
Yeah. And, that I've heard
You
several
know,
people
I
talk this
know
week that,
or sorry, I would
the Ravens have got to be embarrassed the way they played the last 2 weeks. But whether you're embarrassed or not, when you suck, there's nothing you can overcome that, right? You can be
yeah.
embarrassed all you want. If you're terrible, there's nothing that can overcome that, right? I
I
mean, you
don't
can,
think I honestly I don't think they're embarrassed by the way they played. I mean, they've had 6 all-pro players. Like, I heard it was $160 million worth of cap players that weren't playing.
right,
That's like your entire cap that's not playing.
right,
So I don't think they're embarrassed by any means, but I I guess I'm just saying, like, and the last thing I'll say before we make a final decision is I realize the Steelers might be a consensus pick, but I'll still take a winner, even if it
right.
is a consensus pick.
I agree with that. Yeah. I mean,
And
we've
I
said
think
that
that
before.
I think that the Steelers would be a consensus. No, I mean, I'm damn near certain that the Seahawks will be. Like, everyone's gonna pick them if there's a point and a half of value out there.
Yeah. I don't think New
49ers,
Orleans will
I don't
be.
know.
I
I
don't
don't
think
think
New
New Orleans
Orleans
will
will
be
be.
either.
I don't think San Francisco will be.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm
I
in
know
agreement. I
I
mean,
can guarantee you the Packers would not be. That's, like, almost my biggest advocacy for them is I guarantee you it wouldn't be.
right.
That would maybe almost be like an opposite of consensus pick. Like, that the Bengals could be a consensus and the Packers could be the opposite side.
Yeah. Um,
And tell me if there's anything else I'm missing. I mean, I discussed my concerns with the Chargers Dolphins. I don't know
right.
how strongly you're feeling about the
That's
about
a
the
money thing.
Chargers.
I just can't see the Chargers losing 3 games in a row.
I agree with that.
Can with the loss of Tyreek and that, I'm not sure how the Dolphins are going to score enough points, but the Chargers certainly aren't a team that's going to put 40 points on you either, right? So
Right, right.
could be problematic. Um, yeah, I mean, I think at this point where we're down in the contest and we need to really start making up some ground or we're going to be sad people here in the next 4 weeks or something. I mean, maybe it's time for us to start making some wacky picks like the Packers, right? And try to gain on the field that way.
I don't mind it only just because, like, at least the case that I have for the Packers is like an actual solid case, and I know that it'd be contrary.
Right. And I think, yeah, part of the way that people win at these contests is you've got to be contrarian. You've got to stay away from those consensus picks. You've got to pick your spots, and you've got to have a nice mix of favorites and underdogs, right? So
Right. And I mean, I don't want to be like completely contrarian where we're just trying to find the like where we're just hunting for, oh, the all the consensus is going to be here, so we should just automatically pick against it, right? Like I don't think we should try to do that, but I think keeping it in mind and tossing in maybe one that is a little bit off base, but we can at least make a case for them outside of it just being a contrarian pick isn't a bad idea.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think taking the teams that we have, I don't think the Commanders or so many Bears fans, I think somebody that's not going to be a consensus pick probably.
I don't think that no, I don't think so at
No.
all.
So
The
we've got a
Commanders
good
have no following. The Bears, though, there's so many Bears fans.
yeah. And I think
And
you're
the
right.
Cowboys might even be in there. There's so many Cowboys fans.
Yeah. And I think you're right with the point move. The Seahawks are probably going to be one of the consensus picks. So we'll take that and live with it. But yeah, we have to come to an agreement on these things. And I'm perfectly good with going a little wacky and taking the Packers. I mean, I can see your point with the Steelers. And yeah, maybe I'll kick myself when the Steelers beat them 30-7, right? On Sunday afternoon. But the fact that, that's going to be one of the most played games for sure, just because everybody's been talking all week about what a bad spot it is for the Browns. Or do we just take
I
that and
haven't
eat the consensus pick and live with it, right?
I haven't heard one person talk about this Packers game all week.
Yeah, no. Or if they did, they just skipped
They
over
just
it.
said, "Oh, Joe Flacco got traded."
Yeah, and it's a lot of points.
Right.
Yeah,
No one's talking about it. Like,
no, yeah, no, nobody wants to even be involved in it. So, um,
that's
and
why
it's
I want
funny,
to be
like,
involved
and
with
it's
it.
funny that all the money's on the Bengals too, right?
Right. And the line hasn't moved though.
Right. So,
If it were real money on the Bengals, like it would be like 13.5, 13, 12.5. Like you've seen that happen. Like when the Saints were massive underdogs against the Bills, they caught a bunch of money and they actually moved the line.
right.
Unlike the
Yep.
Packers, where I don't think they're not moving the line.
Yep. Agreed.
But
Okay.
I'm happy taking either the Packers or the Steelers, so
Okay. And I'd rather be wacky and take the Packers.
I'm okay with that. I'm good with that.
Okay. No hard feelings.
Yep. And if the Steelers win by 20, then I'm fine to come on and face our viewers and say, "I'm
Dave was
sorry,
wrong.
guys. No, Matt was wrong. We were both wrong. We should have just gone with the Steelers." But the viewers, they can crucify us in I guess in the comments section if they want
Yes.
for
No,
taking the Packers.
I think it's I think it's a smart play. That's what we want.
Right. And let's hope we don't get bakered like we did last week.
I don't mind if Baker wins by 1. I don't mind if Baker
I
wins
don't
by
care
2.
if he wins by 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
perfectly
I don't
fine
mind
with
that
it.
either.
Yeah. And one could say that the 49ers are due for a bad game, but they haven't looked the part yet. And like I say,
No,
it's just
they've been good.
these
They've been good.
teams play such close games that I think it's a toss-up game. Okay,
Yeah, I agree. All right.
we're good.
So we're going Seahawks.
Commanders, 49ers, Saints, Seahawks, Packers.
Okay. At least we have
Okay.
some decent quarterbacks in there. That's like my main concern.
Okay, let's win them all.
All right. 5-0.
Thanks for listening to Chasing Circa Millions. We always welcome feedback, suggestions, and criticism. You can reach us at @cornfieldgolf on Twitter. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, leave a comment, and cross your fingers for our picks.